Hey guys, this is Sidewinder for Community Starcraft 2. Today I'm going to be switching it up quite a bit and bring you a fairly old replay, but it's going to be demonstrating a really cool TvT build order. That's Terran versus Terran that you guys can utilize, which is essentially a mech only, or almost all mech only, into very heavy sky Terran play. It's very harassment centric. It can take a fairly high amount of multitasking to run correctly, but I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys, and if you feel comfortable running it, go ahead and run it. I thought it was a really cool build. It's, I don't want to say popular, but it's very effective, mostly because it's fairly unusual in Terran versus Terran, but I'm going to run down the basics for you. You're obviously going to drop your first supply depot at 10, which is always what you're going to want to do so you don't get yourself supply blocked. And then you're going to head out and start scouting with that SCV. And after this, it's going to be standard 12 barracks, 13 gas. There is a little bit of, smack talking here, but go ahead and ignore that. This is actually from a player that was in the top 50 back in the day before they had Grandmasters. This replay is from January, I believe, and you're going to notice it look a little bit weird, but nevertheless, this build is still extremely effective. It's actually going to be a little more effective because some patches have actually changed some things to benefit this build just a little bit. So here we're seeing the 12 barracks, 13 gas. After this, you're going to transform your orbital command on 15. So he's going to queue up that 15th SCV right there. And as soon as this barracks finishes, he is going to get the gas for his tech lab and drop the tech lab on there when he can. But we'll see that a little bit later. So he's going to go ahead and transform his orbital command on 15, as we can see here. While this is building up, he's going to go ahead and put down one Marine, and he's going to queue up a second Marine as well. After this is going to be when you're going to want to start your tech lab, and you're going to want to switch it on to your factories that you're going to be making. This build is called the 2 factory, 2 starport, or 2 factory, 2 port, whatever you want to call it, build from iEchoic here, who is the person that has invented it, and this is a replay of him running it. You're going to take your second gas on 17, and your second supply depot is going to be on 16, as we saw him throwing that down, but that's pretty normal stuff, so you don't get yourself supply blocked. You're going to deny scouting with these 2 Marines, and then you're going to drop a factory as soon as you have the money to afford it, and as soon as this gas is done, should be about the timing, and then you're going to drop a second factory while also starting a tech lab on your barracks. So we're going to see that happen. A little bit of background behind this build. The reason this build works is because it's very harassment centric. It's not more so of, I'm going to get a big army and fight your big army. It's more like, I'm going to get an army out and I'm going to make it so you can't put out an army. This build is extremely safe against pretty much anything that Terrans are going to do. So that is if you're good at running it. Like I said, this does take a lot of good scouting. It does take a lot of good multitasking so you can keep everything going. What you're going to do is you're going to lift off this factory any second, and you're going to drop it on this tech lab, and he decides to scout with his barracks. You can do that if you want. We're going to show you something pretty kind of funny that he does with it, but on comes the add-on. You're going to research Blue Flame or Infernal Preigniter as soon as that lands, and start a Hellion as soon as you have the resources for it, which is going to be any moment, I presume. Oh, never mind, there's already one starting on here, so my fault. So he's going to come in here and scout with his barracks, and what he's going to see is the 1-1-1 opening from Terran, which is 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. This usually means fairly quick Banshees, and this build is safe from Banshees. We'll show you how to handle it and show you how this build works very well against that. So he's going to scout in here with his barracks, that is. This barracks doesn't really matter. He's using this barracks just to see what's going on in the enemy base. You can see the kind of longevity it has. It's taking all this fire from Marines. He's going to do something really funny and try to land this barracks on top of this add-on, taking it over and slowing down his opponent just a little longer. But nevertheless, he's going to have 2 Hellions on the field now. He's going to eventually go up to 4 and make this starport put out a medevac. And then he's going to drop these Blue Flame Hellions on the opponent's mineral line. There's that little add-on steal. I thought that was funny. I'd never seen that before until now. But nevertheless, he's going to be putting out as many Hellions as he can really afford. And you did see, well, no, we didn't see it, but this is a supply drop that you can get off of your orbital command, and he does need to supply drop right here. So instead of making a third, or rather a fourth supply depot, just supply drop one of them, because minerals are very tight at this point in the build. You can see the medevac coming out. Blue flame is almost done, and it should be timed so that blue flame finishes basically when this medevac is ready. Now, if you see banshees coming out from the opponent, which you can suspect if they're lifting off one building and switching a starport onto it, it's going to mean banshees basically every time. What you can do is, as soon as one of your starports is done, after you've started your medevac, start a Viking, and then swap your add-ons right here, this starport onto this tech lab, land the starport on the tech lab, put out a Raven. That's going to completely protect you from Banshee or cloaked Banshee attacks and make him sink a lot of resources into something that's going to be useless for him. So that's what we're going to see him doing. He's just going to move this factory, and these factories are going to put out nothing but Hellions. The only units you're going to build in this is Hellion, Banshee, Viking, Raven, and eventually battle cruisers if the game gets far enough in. But we're going to see this blue flame Hellion drop. We're going to see exactly what he opts to do with it. You need to be careful and not just donate these blue flame Hellions. Try to keep them alive if you can. And if he has Banshees on the field, you're going to say, yeah, well, the Banshees can kill the Hellions. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, you're probably going to lose a couple, but Hellions are 100. And if you can get on his mineral line and kill his SCVs, that's game over. So, you can see how and why this build should be effective. He is just kind of patrolling his Viking around a little bit, trying to pick off any Banshees that might be coming. And he's going to keep being annoying with these drops. He's going to do one of two things with these drops. He's going to make it so that he's never going to experience any counter pressure because the opponent can't leave his base. And even if he does leave his base and he drops off these Hellions, goodbye mineral line, and then all of a sudden you have no army to fight off, or rather the opponent has no army to fight you off. But again, you can see nothing coming down except for Vikings, Banshees, and Hellions. He is sending some Hellions over here to clear out the watchtower, which he normally would do, but this is already taken by his own SCV. He's going to send a couple of Hellions to poke in here and continue to do some scouting and delay this expansion if he possibly can, which 2 blue flame Hellion shots, 1 blue flame Hellion shot does 24 base. 2 of them will one-shot an SCV, which you can see right. He doesn't decide to do it, so never mind. He just decides to go straight for the mineral line and take out a whole bunch of workers. But he got this to work because he was doing 2 pronged attacks. One was dropping, one was running up the middle of the base, so you can see how annoying he's being. He's also starting his command center when he notices that the enemy has started his, and his production is going to remain the same. It's just 2 starports, 2 factories. He's doing nothing but pumping out Hellions, and you're going to say, well, shouldn't this lose to, tank Marine or tank Viking? It's, well, yes, I mean, if you let them get that far, you will lose to it, but the idea of this build is to keep his mineral income so low by harassing him so hard that you won't even need to worry about fighting that composition. He is even pushing out with this small group, but again, if he leaves, you have free reign to just walk in there, drop off, and go to work. So his army is completely out of position. Your Hellions are really fast, faster than Banshees move anyway. He's going to come in here and just roast up a whole bunch of SCVs and really go to work on them. But yes, actually I'm not sure. Let me try and see if I am wrong on that, on the Banshee speed versus Hellions. I think it's actually close to the same. No, never mind. Hellions are a lot faster, so I was correct in assuming that. So anyway, so you can see how thin his worker lines are. He has very little workers here, very little workers here, whereas you look at the person we're watching running this build, he's so far oversaturated, or at least so far ahead of his opponent, that, I mean, he can't even field an army at this point. And eventually, by the time, if your harassments don't go like exceptionally well, you can put out battle cruisers to fight off any air units. You're going to have a lot of Vikings, and one thing on this Raven that you might see is dropping this point defense drone. And point defense drones in Viking versus Viking fights are huge. They change the battle so much, so it's very wise to consider keeping this Raven out, even if you don't see Banshees, just to put down that point defense drone, or PDD as people like to call it. And again, here's his second tier of harassment. You can harass with these Banshees. If you're good enough, you can kite Marines and hit them so that the Marines cannot hit you. And ideally, if you can make them put out a whole bunch of missile turrets like this and all these over here, he just sank 400 resources into missile turrets when he's already behind in economy, and your army is going to keep getting more and more healthy as this build goes on. in response, you're going to see a lot of weird things. Normally you'd see siege tanks to kill these Hellions. Then again, if he's dedicating a lot of siege tanks just to kill Hellions, he's already way behind. He's putting out Thors in order to try to splash on these Banshees and kill the ground army. But you're going to see in this game, actually, I will kind of spoil it, you're going to see those point defense drones really going to work on those Thor shots, making it so the Thor is doing almost nothing in combat. There is a little bit of harassment here, but you can see this team of Vikings and this Raven chasing down these Banshees, and you can also scan with your command center and your Vikings. If you have this many Vikings on the field, you'll kill them in 1 or 2 volleys. Here's another Banshee being annoying, but it's being detected. Goodbye. And his harassment is really not all that effective, considering you have that team of detection plus anti-air out right now. So the other thing that people might be concerned about with this build is a really fast like Marine rush or Marine Hellion rush. But the thing is that you're going to have plenty of Hellions on the field to deal with that, and you will have the opportunity to drop some bunkers down if you absolutely need to, and stow your couple of Marines in there, which actually sounds silly, but if it's just Marines shooting at your bunker and you're shooting back, you're going to have a lot more longevity in that fight. It's going to buy times for your Hellions to get out, and Hellions versus Marines severely favors the Hellions. Here's another Banshee going down due to the scan with this Viking team and this Raven out in the air. But this army is getting more and more healthy, and eventually it's going to get to a point where there's so many Hellions and he has so little units on the field that there's no way he can stop these Hellions from doing a ton of damage. You can see on the red player's point of view, he has a bunch of Marines, a couple of Thors, a couple of tanks. So he's doing his best to hold this off. There's so many Hellions here that stopping them from getting into your base is going to be so hard to do. Eventually, actually, we're going to watch this fight, and then we'll get to my next stage. Watch how many SCVs these Hellions are going to kill so easily. This whole mineral line is basically gone. He's only lost a couple Hellions, and here's those point defense drones intercepting those Thor shots. So these Thor volleys are not even damaging these air units at all until now. But look at that, he killed a whole bunch of Marines as well. All he's left with is a few Thors, some Marauders, and SCVs. And 1 tank. Other than that, he's dead. He has no workers on either mineral line. He has 3 workers here, 4 workers there, and eventually you're going to scale this up into more factories and more starports. He did put on 1 barracks for a little bit of a mineral dump into Marines, and here comes his fusion core, which he's going to put out if the game goes long enough to warrant battlecruisers. Since battlecruisers are going to do so well against all the responses you're going to see, they're going to do really well against Marines. If you can get your battlecruisers upgraded, which you can see level 1 plating coming down here, that's actually on the mech, but you can't put it on your starport units if you really want to start getting into battlecruisers. And if you upgrade your armor on your battlecruisers, it's going to make these Marines shoot peas, and the Marines are going to get cleaned up by Hellions anyway, so you can see why this composition would work. I think I've essentially explained everything that needs to be known, and if you run this build, at first you might run into some trouble, but don't write it off, because this build has such good potential, and it really just comes down to running correctly more than anything. You can see this Hellion, landed Viking, Banshee force really ripping his units apart. There's 2 battlecruisers on the way, as you can see on the production tab, with this very outdated production tab. And the red player leaves the game. So you can see this is a turn versus turn strategy that's atypical in the sense that it's not one of those ones where it's like, I'm going to get a big army and I'm going to demand position. It's more like, I'm going to be annoying as I possibly can be. Come in here and kill all your workers and make it so you can't even field an army. And people's reactions to Hellions are awful. People usually will, if they see Hellions, they'll pull all their workers and they'll Maynard them out in just a single line. And it's like, well, hooray, Hellions fire in a line, I will just burn up that whole line. And especially in lower leagues, if you can get that Blue Flame Hellion drop off, a lot of times that will effectively end the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that build order. I will post links down below to the thread for it on Team Liquid, so you guys can read all of the like frequently asked questions and stuff from the actual author himself, and go about it that way. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be back for more build order tutorials soon, and some more community replays, so stay tuned. I'll see you later.